But if she hasn't had the children herself, or Harry hadn't been involved, then they can't be in the royal line. They have to have royal blood, those little ones. Without that, there's no chance of them becoming a member of the royal family. I think he believes, and this might surprise you or not, that Meghan is the one who should take over. It was a dreadful thing to do, and actually completely wrong. He is quite hard and harsh.
Angela, hello. Is Harry going to use this now?
Whatever she tries to do, she's an absolute failure because she doesn't let anyone else who's got a lot of experience. Meghan, it won't go back before she got married, but the way she's treated the royal family, the way she's actually not allowed her children to meet their family, and you can go on for what she said, all the lies she said. So she's not someone who can complain about ethical behaviour. It was very important to care about people and not to think about themselves, and that money didn't matter very much. What did matter was to look after people. If she hasn't had the children herself, or Harry hadn't been involved, then they can't be in the royal line. You know, they have to have royal blood, those little ones. She could do anything so disgusting. It really is. The thing is, I wonder if she'd asked anyone about this, and if they said to her, "Oh, goodness."
Meghan would be nothing if she hadn't married a prince and been looked.
I think the Duchess of Sussex has a very different personality. I think that the Duchess of Sussex needs to prove herself non-stop. She takes on everything she possibly can. The Harry we knew has been destroyed by himself and by Meghan. And if he comes over and does any sort of give him a job to do, well, it's an absurd thing to say, because he will, demand money for it. Meghan will demand money for it.
What if the future of the British monarchy, shaped by bloodlines, tradition, and centuries of legacy, wasn't being rocked by war or politics, but by two people who turned royal duty into a Netflix marketing deal? That's exactly what Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have done to the crown. This is the same couple who begged for privacy, yet can't stop turning their lives into a constant PR circus. They reveal everything when it works in their favor, but when it comes to the one detail that truly counts, who their children really are, all we get is quiet, staged grins and stories that don't match up.
We have to find it and present it. But I think he was completely mystified by that, particularly by him, because he couldn't give the details, but he could give what he imagined or believed.
Meghan didn't step into the royal family. She showed up like a Hollywood performer chasing the biggest part of her career. And Harry trailed after her out of the palace like a smitten sidekick, swapping centuries of royal tradition for California photo shoots and podcast contracts nobody wanted. They painted themselves as victims, as fighters, as modern heroes battling a heartless system. But the reality looks far simpler. They profited off the family name while avoiding the one thing the monarchy survives on: openness. And now with Angela Levin's Bombshell sparking serious questions about Archie and Lilibet's parentage, that carefully built image is starting to crumble. Their empire of excuses is collapsing.
Unstable, isn't it, at the moment? And you don't want things to happen that you will regret.
Big time. And of course the mainstream media, certainly Radar Online, starting to pick up on the surrogacy scandal now.
I'm sure that she's done it deliberately and very carefully. She's cunning as can be. We've seen her being cunning in every aspect of life. And she's done this exactly so that she then can say to Harry, "Look."
Harry's angry threats to sue don't look powerful. They reek of panic. Meghan's silence doesn't look graceful. It looks calculated. It looks like she's hiding something. The royal couple who believed they could outsmart the monarchy are now cornered by the one thing they tried to run from: responsibility. And don't twist this. This isn't only about them anymore. This is about whether the crown itself can survive the chaos they caused. When Harry and Meghan's wedding anniversary came around, everyone expected another PR move. A glossy Netflix-style photo drop. A fake "we're still relevant" moment. Instead, there was nothing. No royal praise, no glowing headlines, not even a sympathy post from their Hollywood crowd. The silence wasn't calm. It was savage. And here's the irony. The couple who once sold themselves as fearless rebels rewriting the rules have now faded into the background like an old tabloid nobody even bothers to open anymore.
It's
But
pointless.
it's very strange, isn't it? Because he goes to see Charles, he desperately wants to see him, he wants to be united again. And then the next week he says something completely the opposite, makes it very, very difficult and becomes very rude.
Meghan, the self-crowned Duchess of Disruption, couldn't even stage an Instagram moment to prove her fairy tale was still breathing. Harry, meanwhile, looked less like a prince and more like a man realizing his royal escape ended in a silent California dead end. The same couple who once demanded constant attention suddenly found themselves overlooked, their anniversary reduced to a detail nobody even cared to mention. And if that silence wasn't humiliating enough, it opened the door to something far worse. Because when the cameras stopped flashing and the applause dried up, Angela Levin stepped in with a revelation so sharp, it cut deeper than any insult ever could.
You have to do what they want, and so they can see that you're improving. If you just say something, we don't know what he said this time, but if you then immediately afterwards you start lying and being aggressive, you're not going to get anywhere. So he sort of puts it down and then takes it away. I think this is Meghan. I'm sorry to say that again, but I think she watches everything he's doing and works out what to say and when, and keeps him in the most terrible state that he doesn't know where he is or how he can manage.
When Angela Levin spoke, the royal world stopped acting like everything was normal. She didn't tease it. She didn't sugarcoat it. She dropped it like a grenade. After decades of watching the royals up close, Levin delivered a bombshell that ripped straight through the polished image Harry and Meghan had been desperately holding together. She said what millions had already suspected but were afraid to say out loud, that Archie and Lilibet's parenthood may not be as simple as the Sussex brand wants the public to believe. All of a sudden, the couple who built their empire on our truth saw that truth turned against them, and the timing couldn't have been worse. Their credibility was already hanging by a thread after failed media deals, and Levin's claims tightened that thread into a noose. The warm image of devoted parents vanished overnight. In its place came whispers of surrogacy, secrecy, and deception.
Harry and Meghan Markle's surrogacy scandal has entered the mainstream media domain.
But she will take over. Meghan wants to be queen. You can't actually have her as standing there as a second person. So all that is nonsensical, actually. Very ridiculous. And she should know better. She's a marvellous journalist. But this is incredibly spiteful and ridiculous.
Levin didn't speak out of spite. She spoke from experience. She asked the question everyone else was too cautious to raise. Why were there no clear hospital moments? No solid paperwork? No visible respect for the centuries-old traditions every royal mother before Meghan followed? The answer was silence. And in the royal world, silence shouts louder than any denial ever could. Levin's bombshell wasn't just gossip. It was a direct hit on legitimacy. The kind of claim you can't brush off with a polished opera interview or another Netflix trailer. This wasn't a bad headline. It was the start of a scandal too big to hide behind palace walls or California gates. Prince Harry, once a soldier who claimed he could handle pressure, suddenly crumbled the moment people asked questions. Instead of showing proof and shutting it down, he did what pampered royals do best. He threatened to sue. Yes. The same man who said he fled the palace to escape toxic media now runs to lawyers every time the story slips out of his control.
Do anything now he's very ill. And I think that, the African parks are in a terrible state. And there, Harry was in a very senior position there. Now he's on the next grade down. And the people who are there in the parks are raping and fighting and humiliating people who just wander in it. And Harry's done nothing. I mean, he was a senior for quite some years, but he's still on the cards of running this, and it's very concerning that he doesn't seem to have done anything.
And here's the irony. Lawsuits don't stop rumors, they strengthen them. The moment Harry snapped at Levin, the public didn't think, poor Harry. They thought, what is he hiding? A confident man, a secure father would have calmly ended the talk with proof. Harry didn't. He got flushed, furious, and reactive, looking less like a prince's son and more like a celebrity caught lying on live TV. Meghan, his so-called warrior queen, was nowhere to be seen, leaving Harry to flounder alone. And the more he fought, the weaker he appeared. And the cruelest part is this. Every legal threat Harry made only poured fuel on Levin's fire. The harder he tried to silence her, the more he made her look right. He isn't protecting privacy. He's terrified of the truth coming out. Anger without facts isn't strength, it's fear. And Harry's fear didn't kill the story. It ensured it would blow up. The scandal reached its darkest moment with 3 simple letters, DNA.
Now, royal births are supposed to be, the details have to be made public because they have to reassure the United Kingdom that they meet the legal requirements.
And he thinks that it was very bad that she wasn't questioned about what should be done to make the royal family more up to date. And she said herself that she felt that they should have asked her what should be done rather than Kate, because she is a self-made woman and she's got much more experience. Now that's a killer sentence.
The one thing that could end all speculation in seconds. Yet Harry and Meghan treated it like poison. Commentators, journalists, even royal watchers who once defended them started demanding proof. Not rumors, not staged photos, not glossy Netflix clips, real scientific evidence. And the silence from the Sussex camp said more than any statement ever could. This time the spotlight didn't land on Archie. It locked onto Lilibet. Her name, tied to the late Queen herself, was meant to represent continuity and respect.
And she's done that a lot right from the start, and a lot of them aren't true, and some of them that Harry does, I'm sure he doesn't want to do, like giving up his friends and not allowing them to come to the wedding because Meghan wanted all these celebrities who could help her get known throughout the world. I think he hasn't got the sort of guts to really stand up to her, and he hasn't had them because he just fell in love with her 1, 2, 3. He told me, whew, he saw her and that was it.
Instead, it became the center of suspicion. The whispers grew louder. Was Lilibet even Meghan's biological child, or just another carefully managed piece of the Sussex brand? That question alone was enough to shake the idea of succession. Because without clear lineage, her place in the royal order is nothing but smoke and mirrors. Meanwhile, Harry paced and fumed like a man backed into a corner, still refusing the simplest way out. One test, one swab, one clear answer. Instead, he chose deeper secrecy, pulling Meghan into even heavier suspicion. And Meghan stayed silent, letting Harry flail like a drowning man while she hid in the shadows. Every ignored demand, every dodged question, only strengthened what people already believed, that the Sussexes have far more to hide than they will ever admit.
She did it on purpose. Archie and Lily have finally been unmasked as Prince Harry and Meghan Markle lie and say that this was a mistake. But trust me, this is all part of Meghan's sinister plan to commercialize her children, to pimp them out for financial gain, and I'm not being sucked in by it at all.
DNA became the symbol of truth, and their refusal to face it made the whispers louder, nastier, and impossible to ignore. For centuries, royal mothers followed an unwritten rule: give birth, step outside the hospital doors, show the child to the nation that would one day follow them. Kate Middleton did it 3 times with grace. Exhausted, yes, but open, clear, honest. Meghan Markle tore that script apart. Instead of clarity, she offered smoke and mirrors, vanishing acts, awkward photo ops, and a baby bump that seemed to change by the day.
Spent over a year with Prince Harry.
He was charismatic, he was intuitive like his mother, brilliant with people who'd been damaged physically or mentally, very funny. There was the occasional dark cloud that came over him. You could see that he was, he had difficulties in his life, but he was terrific. I really enjoyed every minute I spent with him. But now he's bitter, he's angry, he feels hard done by, which is of course astonishing for somebody who's living in a £11 million house with 16 toilets. And he feels he's got to have revenge. I think that's the real word, and that's what's so terrible.
It felt less like royal duty and more like the finale of a reality TV show. And Harry stood beside her, grinning like a clueless sidekick, hoping nobody would notice the cracks in their story. But people did. They noticed the secrecy, the strange camera angles, the missing medical updates that once reassured the public. And those gaps became breeding grounds for the darkest whispers, surrogacy, staged images, and a couple desperately trying to control a story that was already falling apart. Meghan, who sold herself as a symbol of authenticity, became the face of fakery. Harry, who once mocked conspiracy theories.
And she did say that she could carry on acting if she wanted to. But I think the more you think about it in retrospect, the more you see that whatever happened, she wasn't going to stay there. She was going to take Harry away because she's got what she wanted. She's got a title and she would have lots of money, but he hasn't got enough money for her. She's a bit upset about that. What is extraordinary about Harry is that he feels that he can do things that other people he would attack and criticize, but it would be fine because he still is the prince and he can do this. And if he's going to court, it's up to the judge to listen to him, but not actually to ask for evidence.
Now looks like the lead character in one by throwing tradition aside. They didn't modernize the monarchy. They damaged it. Every inconsistency, every moment they dodged the truth, poured fuel on a fire they already lit. Instead of ending the doubts, their secrecy locked them in as permanent suspects in a scandal of their own making.
Well, I think they have one very important rule, and that they are hypocrites, and what they tell us to do doesn't apply to them because they're so grand. I think that's as simple as that. So they can behave in any way they like. That he's pushed into this by his wife. I think that I'm not saying it's her fault necessarily, and he should stand up to what he feels is right, but I think she is pushing him from the start to be negative about his family and actually make comments that are negative. Find them. I mean, she's done that a lot right from the start. And a lot of them aren't true, and some of them that Harry does, I'm sure he doesn't want to do, like giving up his friends and not allowing them to come to the wedding because Meghan wanted all these celebrities who could help her get known throughout the world. I think he hasn't got the sort of guts to really stand up to her.
This is where gossip ends and real danger begins. When Meghan and Harry chose secrecy over tradition, they didn't just bend the rules. They fractured the foundation of royal legitimacy. A monarchy survives on bloodline, on a clear and unbroken chain of birthrights. By surrounding their children's origins with mystery, the Sussexes put that chain at risk. Meghan, once promoted as the modern future of royalty, now looks like the person ripping it apart. Her silence doesn't look strong. The longer the Sussexes avoid transparency, the more those whispers of illegitimacy harden into public belief. It looks suspicious. Every time she refuses to speak, people don't see grace. They see guilt. And Harry, a prince born into privilege but never the responsibility that comes with it, now looks like a liability to the crown itself. His tantrums and legal threats don't make him look protective. They make him look like a man guarding a fragile secret, not a father defending his family.
If it was done, if they went to be with him, to just show how more powerful they are, to show that they can actually smash things, because if they get him on board, it makes it more difficult for the royal family. I think it's dreadful, but I don't know that that's absolutely what they were going to do.
This isn't just about two children anymore. It's about whether the monarchy can survive when heirs are questioned at every step. And that shadow doesn't only hang over Meghan and Harry. It stretches all the way to the throne. Angela Levin didn't drop her bombshell and vanish. She pushed it further. She warned that if Harry dares take this into a courtroom, the fallout could be devastating. Courts don't care about royal titles or celebrity deals. They demand proof, records, medical files, and yes, DNA. For a couple obsessed with controlling their image, the thought of a judge dragging the truth into the open must be terrifying. And Levin didn't stop there. She hinted she has more, much more. Information sitting in reserve, ready to be used. While Harry swings wildly at shadows, the real damage is unfolding in plain sight.
I think it's a bit of a blackmail that he says he's not going to bring his children, because, King Charles would like nothing less than seeing these little children, but he won't bring them until he wins this. He wants the king to try and help him, I imagine. He wouldn't ask him necessarily, but he would make it so difficult that perhaps he would, but it won't happen. And if they even tried, everybody would be up in arms, because he's not working for the royal family and he can't take our tax and use it for his own safety. There are lots of levels of safety. He wants the one where the police can carry guns and they know exactly what's going on about security. That's the number one top grade. But there are lots of others who can't have guns but do know enough that's going on and will be very careful about family, and especially with children.
Media giants who once rushed to back them are pulling away now. Contracts are collapsing. Credibility is draining fast, and the golden couple of Montecito is starting to look like a bad investment. Meghan, who branded herself as Hollywood royalty, is watching doors quietly shut. And Harry, who believed his royal name guaranteed power, is learning the hard truth. A title means nothing when the public stops believing. Levin's warning wasn't personal. It was a spotlight on an empire coming apart. If the truth ever reaches a courtroom, they won't just lose credibility. They'll lose everything they built. When the noise finally fades, one truth stays standing. The future of Archie and Lilibet isn't just a private family matter. It's a constitutional crack waiting to split wide open.
They want publicity all the time and they can't always think of the things to say. So, they have a meeting. What am I going to ask about now that will get the front pages? And someone says, well, why don't you say you're not going to come and look for a house in Windsor because of what's going on with the refusal that you get all this attention and protection? And I think that then that drives off and it's gone. I think they come up with loads of these things. We have loads of things where they were going to move into all different parts of America, and you thought, oh my goodness, do they want more than 16 bathrooms now? But that never comes off. Loads of things that they come up with don't come off, and I think this could very well be one of those.
Monarchies survive on bloodline. It's how kings rise, queens reign, and dynasties endure. Without transparency, every title the Sussex children carry becomes a question mark. And a monarchy built on doubt cannot survive. Meghan, once presented as the modern savior of the crown, now looks like the one weakening it from the inside. Her silence isn't graceful. It's deliberate, and it reeks of avoidance.
Harry going to justify, why did you not let us come and see him? You were coming
they'll
to
say he's
England.
not a
Why
nice
did you not
man.
allow it?
Well, they'll say he wasn't a nice man. I mean, that's very easily said and done. I know lots of people who do that when divorces and the wife or the husband won't let the children see the other part and say, oh, they're horrible, you don't want to see them, and it can actually stay there. I feel very, very sorry for those children, because on their maternal side with Meghan, the only person...
Harry, once the cheeky prince the world adored, now looks like a man fighting shadows, throwing threats instead of answers. He doesn't look strong, he looks frightened. And nothing threatens the crown more than a prince who seems afraid of the truth. If Parliament is ever forced to step in, the damage won't stop with Harry and Meghan. It could rattle the entire institution. Picture it. DNA tests, medical records, lawyers ripping through royal mystique under courtroom lights.
That's not happening. And I think to deprive children of that is very difficult, because a family, if you can get a nice family with different ages, they can give you something.
One simple test could end all of this instantly. Yet they act as if the truth itself would burn their empire to the ground. Maybe that's why they keep running, because deep down they know exposure could erase the last scraps of credibility they're clinging to. And if you think this scandal is shocking, you haven't seen the full story yet. On Famex, we already exposed how Meghan and Harry's glossy media empire was collapsing long before Angela Levin's Bombshell ever landed.